The news can be unbiased, but can the people presenting the news be unbiased? In the last decade, absolutely not. It's why you've seen the rise of Fox News and Newsmax, or smaller places like the Daily Wire and the Daily Caller, or even smaller, independent conservative creators like myself. We're here to counter the propaganda of alleged unbiased news sources by obvious far-left voices. But one creator is getting hate for actually trying to cover the news in an unbiased manner. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to Underreported Stories, where I cover the news that CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News fail to report on, or just don't report on enough. And today I'm going to explain to you this seldom talked about drama between the internet and rising podcaster Jordan Is My Lawyer. If you don't know who Jordan Is My Lawyer is, she's got a podcast called Unbiased News, where she talks about the news of the day and provides you with just the facts, no commentary. She's, like her username would explain, she's a lawyer, so she's got lawyer brain, and she's very practical, very professional in the way she speaks and conducts her show. She even goes so far as to wear only black and white shirts in all of her videos to not even show bias in the colors she chooses. Like, it's a real dedication she has. But Jordan Is My Lawyer's integrity was recently brought into question when a TikToker named Claudia insinuated that Jordan Is My Lawyer's unbiased news podcast is actually riddled with bias.
Have y'all noticed this unbiased news creator actually displays quite a bit of bias? Now, I'm not saying she is, a total liar or like the worst, but Jordan Is My Lawyer has had this trend of bias in selection of information. And I tried to give some benefit of the doubt at first, but it's multiple times.
So Claudia, the woman in that video, she says that Jordan Is My Lawyer has a selection bias problem. Now, selection bias is a problem, don't get me wrong, and we'll get into it later whether Jordan Is My Lawyer has selection bias. But selection bias also doesn't mean you can't report the facts. I mean, that's what most of my podcast is. I don't fail to give you the facts. I just give you the facts on stories that otherwise wouldn't be reported on. That doesn't make it any less valid or any less factual. CNN and MSNBC, they have selection bias. Fox News has selection bias. Everyone has selection bias. But the problematic part of selection bias doesn't come in necessarily in that bias. It's in refusing or diminishing coverage of something that people are interested in, or using certain stories to push opinions instead of facts, which all three of those networks routinely do. But as noted at the top of the show, Jordan Is My Lawyer doesn't give opinions. She'll just talk about any of the big news stories of the day. So I don't necessarily think that that's selection bias, but Claudia, the creator of the original video we just watched, goes on to explain examples of this alleged selection bias exemplified by Jordan Is My Lawyer.
An example from that video where she is trying to say, hey, both parties are trying to play into our fears as a way to motivate us to vote. So here's some things that are like pro-Kamala and pro-Trump, basically. And the pro-Kamala message of it is based on like policy and like what's actually laid out in policy or policy proposal. And it's not like a backtracking of things. It's just, hey, Republicans are literally just like lying about this capital gains tax proposal. And this is what the proposal is from Kamala Harris. And this is how government works. It's just like the bar's like kind of up here for Kamala Harris to be pro-Kamala here. Then for Trump's side of it, it's, hey, Democrats are trying to say that Project 2025 is Trump's agenda, but it's not. Trump has said so. And so that bar for Trump is down here. Like, do you see the floor? It's down there.
I'm going to be honest, I stopped the video because it's really long and she just mumbles on arguing that you can factually disprove the GOP's lies, but you can't factually disprove that Trump won't enact Project 2025. We only have his word to go off of, which is a lie. We have countless years of historical examples of the Heritage Foundation, which is the architect of Project 2025, creating very similar frameworks, and never has a GOP president taken the plan at face value and implemented it. There are facts, that's a fact, and historical precedent as well. And also, you can look at separate policy agendas written out and put out by Donald Trump's campaign. That is his actual agenda. I just found this whole video so funny because both sides were examples of something the other side lies about that can be debunked not just by facts, but also by circumstantial evidence. Like, there are facts, but there's also circumstantial evidence to prove that the unrealized capital gains tax promoted by Kamala would probably never get passed. And yet, as mentioned, Republicans are running on it like it's a day one promise of the Harris campaign. Now, we have to take Democrats at their word that they're not going to implement this on day one, but circumstantial evidence and facts would lead us to believe that that would not be the case. And Democrats are running on the claim that Trump will enact Project 2025 on day one, even though he's consistently distanced himself from the project, and we have historical evidence, facts, and circumstantial evidence that no president has ever taken the Heritage Foundation's dream plan and implemented it on day one. The reason Jordan Is My Lawyer chose those two examples is because there are facts and circumstantial evidence to disprove them. If she were really biased, she would have picked stories like Kamala's running to restore Roe v. Wade, when actually she's not running to restore Roe v. Wade, she's running to expand abortion rights on a federal level well beyond what Roe v. Wade allowed. Still factual, but it's selection bias. I just don't think that creator's representation or attack against Jordan Is My Lawyer is substantial enough to warrant a whole whiny, bitchy video.
Drink your beer and stop being a bitch.
And I think this Claudia character's reaction is the perfect example of how conservatives and liberals digest news differently. Conservatives, or most of them I should say, can handle facts surrounding the GOP's lies and manipulation tactics. But the second you tell a liberal Kamala and the Democrats might be lying, they have an online meltdown and attack a journalist. Oh, and I'm not assuming that Claudia is a liberal. Her entire online profile is about getting out the vote for Democrats. Of course, she doesn't like a news podcast that showcases the lies about her preferred side. I think Claudia made this video because deep down, people say they want unbiased news, but it's also a threat on the left to their standard of mainstream journalism that perpetuates lies about Republicans and makes them feel good about themselves. And don't get me wrong, I think the same thing is true of a lot of conservatives too. People will attack unbiased news. I've experienced it myself because it debunks their preferred narrative as well. I always think that people say what they want is, I just want the facts and then I want the ability to think through them myself and debate in healthy communities and have debate be respected and encouraged, and all those things are wonderful. But that kind of news is never consumed at nearly the rate that partisan news is consumed. So I don't believe that's entirely true. I think there's a lot of people who want unbiased news and then they want commentary from both sides, but that's really neither here nor there. If I can be really candid with you, I think the real reason that Jordan Is My Lawyer is being attacked and framed as a conservative is because she's really pretty. Oops, I said it. It's true. Their bias is showing. Liberals' bias is showing. Conservatives are usually hotter than liberals, and Jordan Is My Lawyer is super pretty. So people are going to attack her because she's pretty, successful, and a rising star.
Duh.
Jordan, if you happen to come across this video, they literally hate you because you're pretty and smart. It's just a threat to them. But ultimately, I came on here to discuss whether news can really be unbiased. And in all honesty, my answer is no. We're human beings, and we have natural biases and natural topics that we are individually drawn to more than others, which creates a natural selection bias. I agree that an unbiased news report can never truly be accomplished, but a news report that is just the facts tries its level best in earnestness to report both sides of the story and provides well-rounded content that isn't paid for or endorsed by either party or side. That's still a news podcast worth pursuing. Jordan Is My Lawyer. I love how this entire video I've only called her Jordan Is My Lawyer because that's all she can be referred to as. But anyway, Jordan is a human. She's going to make mistakes, but I think she said it best in a comment where she said, it's so important to check our own biases as well when listening to facts we may not like or want to hear. I'll continue doing my best. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think news can ever be unbiased? And if you're a real one and you stuck around until the end of the show, will you drop the newspaper emoji in the comment section? It's linked in the show notes below if you'd like to copy and paste it. See you here next time. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you heard, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment about how beautiful, stunning, and funny I am. And if you want more content based in logic, be sure to click over here for more videos and clips of my show. If you have the means to financially support the show, consider purchasing from my merch line, BASED Apparel, linked right below. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends.